The national state broadcaster, the BBC, is in the news again. It is seeking to dumb down its content to accommodate what's been described as a dwindling working-class audience. How will they do this? By commissioning what can only be described as shows for thickos, or something they're calling light dramas, whatever the hell they are, and more competition formats and sports documentaries. Do they think we're stupid? The answer is probably yes, they do. And notwithstanding its shameless campaign against Brexit during the referendum, notwithstanding its one-note coverage of COVID, which characterised it as the bubonic plague, and which supported the narrative that we needed masks and had to lock down, notwithstanding its use of EastEnders storylines to push the vaccine, notwithstanding its palpable anti-Boris narrative since his election in 2019, notwithstanding its woke takeover of programmes like Doctor Who, which has become a tedious finger-wagging platform for social propaganda, the BBC is to plumb further depths by making cheap telly for dunces, or at least that's how they see them. Now, the Beeb generates almost £4 billion a year from the licence fee, which somehow they try to frame as good value for money. Do me a favour. Here at GBNews, we have a 7-days-a-week operation, which has a budget which would barely keep Gary Lineker in gold cufflinks. The money that pays for this network is loose change that the Beeb could find down the back of their sofa. Now, the BBC has a great legacy and some great programmes. I don't want to axe it. We have invested in the BBC for years, and it has produced some of the greatest drama, sporting coverage, documentaries, comedies and music programmes that the world has ever seen. Radio 4, 5 Live, much of BBC local radio, great products. Love Attenborough, love Koonsberg, love Graham Norton. Dare I say it, I love the BBC, but I don't love its management. I don't love its political bias, and I don't love its funding model. No longer can it be justified to threaten cash-strapped pensioners with jail for not forking out 160 quid a year, much of which gets splurged on overpaid talent who wouldn't get anything like the deal they're on anywhere else. The Beeb may have moved much of their operation to Salford, which was a good decision, but unfortunately it hasn't changed the mentality, which is firmly rooted in North London. The Beeb can be a great success because it has a great history, but it needs to become the British Broadcasting Corporation again, representing the whole of Britain. Yes, its diverse culture, but also its diverse values, its diverse politics, its diverse tastes, its diverse opinions. And it would be helpful if its presenters didn't sneer or giggle every time someone appeared in front of the Union flag. And it would be helpful if they didn't scrap things like Land of Hope and Glory from last night of the proms, creating the impression that the British Broadcasting Corporation doesn't actually like Britain. The BBC, in my view, must stay, but it needs to deliver more bang for its buck, ditch the partisan coverage, the virtue signalling and the finger-wagging, and just inform, educate and entertain. And it could do that, in my view, on a fraction of the current budget. I think that the licence fee is no longer fit for purpose. It's got to go. When I recently explained to my teenage son that we all pay a special tax to watch the telly, he laughed. He couldn't believe me. So a fairer, more accountable way to pay for the BBC must be found too. At the moment, the Beeb is squirting out a warm flow of risk-averse, patronising, bland, box-ticking, uncreative televisual diarrhoea. And it doesn't come cheap. Right now, the way it's going, the corporation that gave us Pointless is becoming increasingly pointless itself. BBC, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.